Hi there, welcome to the Noah Presgrove case, looking at the latest news and findings on the matter. Just recently it was brought to my attention that one of the supposed partygoers, called Logan, is disgusted with one of my videos upon my channel. And it looks like the post was made maybe in July, but obviously it wasn't exactly accessible or noticeable because it was on their Facebook profile. There was no reason to be checking to see about it back then. It was just that a viewer on my channel recently brought it up in discussion and then sent a link or made an attempt to. I ended up finding it regardless. So I'm going to be presenting it to you today, which is Logan's reaction to the video, what they've had to say about it, some extra information which you may have never seen or heard before, and it's quite interesting, and then the reaction from others, whether that be other party goers or family of family, friends of friends, and just see what it's all about. And there is a follow-up video which is deemed as debunking the hazmat suit, right? Now, throughout this video, I'll give my own analysis and reaction along the way because it is very, very necessary and critical when it comes to language and wording. So make sure to listen in. Welcome to those that are watching during this live premiere. You can share your reactions in the live chat box on the right hand side of the screen. And if you want to elaborate, you got any discussions, questions, anyone, leave your thoughts down below under this video in the comments section and I'll try and respond back to them. Also, you'll find a pinned comment by me with some additional links if you do want to support this channel. And if you're interested in recent coverage by me of the case and the full playlist, top right corner of the screen where that eye symbol is, you'll be able to find the videos there, a drop down box, and then you can catch up on videos you've missed out on, stuff which you've not been notified about because of the way YouTube can be at times. It's a bit of a mess, isn't it? But anyway, without further ado, let's focus in on this particular subject with Logan's reaction to the video footage of a person, a stranger to me, because I don't know who they really are, driving down the dirt road either late at night or early hours of the morning to the party house. You would have seen it yourself, hopefully you have done, the dirt road, driving down to the party house, turning about, and what was in view looked like a dog or two outside, a vehicle parked up, lights on inside, and then what appeared to be someone lurking around the corner, all dressed up in white. That was 4 days ago, not now, but at the time of when it was uploaded. When the video was recorded, it was in 2024. So you can argue and say it's not like really relevant to post-death of Noah. But what it highlights was activity still at the party house after all this time passing by, when at times it's been described as a ghost place. Nobody lives there anymore. People have moved out. Well, what's the living situation then? It just so happened last night that someone left a comment in the chat on one of my videos saying how Logan lives there. Why? Is that really true? Well, it's going to make a bit more sense when we get onto Facebook. So don't go anywhere. It's time to begin. Well, I managed to find it. As you can see on screen, Logan Jernigan. That's their full name. And I do believe that this was one of the party goers, considering Caden Pressey referenced a female at the party called Logan, and this Logan just so happens to be friends with some of those party goers. And when reading through what's mentioned here, it makes more sense. But nevertheless, what I do want to say first and foremost, that what we're looking at is publicly viewable. Whether it be the profile picture to the full username and what's mentioned on screen, this is all within the public domain, publicly viewable and accessible, in case anyone's wondering. This is not private, this is public. Okay? Let's begin reading. Logan says, I just want to know, in what world is this okay? What kind of people do this kind of thing? going to the home where 3 young girls lay their head to sleep every night, recording and posting it publicly for anyone and everyone to see. This is sick. This makes me sick. Being worried about whether or not some grown man or woman will be at your house when you wake up or go to sleep is terrifying. Not knowing if they will do something to you or one of your best friends in your sleep. How is this okay to anyone? How is this being glorified? Lord, please protect me and my girls from these lost people. This is very interesting language and wording, because there are a couple of counterpoints that do need to be mentioned and addressed. But maybe before we analyse this, before we go a bit heavy on, we need to take a look lower down, right? So hopefully the video that's playing here is on mute, okay? As you can see, it says Warlike Ref subscribe. So Logan isn't subscribed to Warlike Ref's channel, because if you were subscribed, it would say unsubscribe, or it just wouldn't say it subscribe at all. So they've watched my shorts video, which is a very small snippet out of context, okay? If you actually bothered watching the full-length video and analysis, it would make more sense based off the reasoning ability, the patterns of it, the discussions along the way, the language and the wording. But you know, if you're just going to catch a small little glimpse, like 30-second video, which is just of the party house and the ground, it's going to be taken out of context to an extent. So maybe there's a chance that Logan failed to watch the full perspective video, considering she's not subscribed to the channel. She's not going to get notifications about future analysis and follow-ups. Just like how some whiners out there where do a shorts video announcing an update or saying how later on today or tonight there's going to be an important video. And what happens is days later people watch the shorts and demand for answers and demand for it. And it's like, well, if you look at the date as to when it was uploaded and when I say the video comes out, you should be able to match and align it together. It's not that difficult. But as we know, people make it difficult on themselves. And just like those within the case of the Noah Presgrove one, switching and changing stories, this and that, we can get more into that later, okay? So this is the perspective of Logan, right? Because you can see the outline. You can see a faint profile picture, bottom right corner screen, which is pink or so. And that's pretty much it. Now, the interesting thing is that it actually shows the like button. And the reason why that's significant is because for quite some time, YouTube has been screwing me over. From my perspective, on mobile only, and this appears to be a person who is on mobile herself, but for me, on mobile, whether you click the thumbs up, the like ratio disappears. And I've been telling YouTube for so damn long and they don't do shit. They just don't bother. They said update, they said reinstall, this and that, clear data cache. BS, it didn't work. So from my perspective, it's screwed. But at least from other people's, it does show the like button and the number underneath it. On mobile as well. So that's one positive to take away from this post, okay? But we're not directly here for that. Let's just do all comments and see what shows up. And it's reset, you bitch. Why did it do that? Why did it take me back to the start? Kate Smith says, everything okay, cousin? Okay. So Kate Smith's cousin is called Logan. And Logan says, I hope so. And this was 1 month ago, these comments. Brandy Jenkins Houston says, what is that? Well, it's video footage of a party house, the one Noah Presgrove attended. Logan says, the hazmat suit is a water meter at our home. Interesting. Now, there is video footage clarifying that, which is fine. But of course, when there is footage from a certain angle and perspective, and it arguably limited, People, the viewers, the audience, myself, because I was a viewer when observing the footage, will only see a certain side of the story. And that's why it's vital important for the other side to be fulfilled by the experts or those that know what they're talking about. For example, the people that live there or are familiar with the area, locals, etc. But obviously, there's been a breakdown in communication, as we've seen. Anyway, Sarah Long, who is Stevie Howard's sister, Sarah says, "This makes me sick for you girls. But don't worry, we've got the video footage from the cameras, the CCTV. So the vehicle description, tag number are now in hands of the police. So rest assured, this won't happen again. And I'll have to have my sister, Stevie Howard, post the video." Or maybe it's not Stevie Howard, another sister. It would have to be another sister, yeah. "Of the video debunking the hazmat suit. Still, so scary, people are so crazy, they would even attempt this stunt." Interesting once again. I do need to analyse this language, but let's just finish off with these comments first of all. Ashlyn Carter. Oh, another Carter. Interesting. In quotes, "What are they doing?" In response, Ashlyn says, "What are you doing at someone's house? This is strange and sick behaviour." So what Ashlyn Impetuous Carter needs to understand, the one asking the question, "What are they doing?" which was said by me, I'm not the same individual to have recorded or gone down to that property, okay? So understand language, and then we can go from there. Logan says, "It was our water meter. This is getting so out of hand." Yes, it is getting out of hand. The fact that 1 year on, this case has still not been resolved, and the fact that people's stories keep changing, whether it be people you're friends with, people that you know of, friends of friends, the stories are out of control. The threatening behaviour and language by the likes of Stevie Howard, by the likes of Colton Newton is getting out of hand, okay? We need to understand that as well. If humans fail to do that, we've got a bit of a problem. Ashlyn Carter says, "What is wrong with these people just to show up at someone's house and trespass? Not very smart either." Now, in terms of signs, at least when looking at, I don't know, Google Earth Street View, and maybe Google Maps if it applies there, I didn't see any road signs at all saying private property. So, as a question, and if anyone can answer it, feel free to do so down below in the comment section. If you was going down that highway north or coming down south towards Terrell and you decided to turn about but you couldn't on the highway because it's just not right, you're probably breaking laws and it's dangerous. But if there was like a road you could turn down, drive down, turn about, come back up and then go back onto the highway going in the other direction, would you be able to do that? For example, that dirt road which leads down to the party house, can you drive down it publicly, yes or no? And at what point would it be considered trespassing? If that can be provided down below, obviously would be very helpful, okay? So let's move on. Logan responds to Ashlyn saying, "What's scary is we were just eating lasagna and had no idea someone was pulling in our driveway recording our home. Terrifying." Interesting once again. The language and wording. We need to start from the top, work our way down, because I do have some points to mention, okay? Logan first of all says, "What in the world is this okay? It's not." I mean, driving down a road, providing it's not like trespassing and you can publicly drive down there, or maybe you made the accident of going down there and then turning about, shouldn't be a problem. Driving down there and recording, you could feel that There's maybe some privacy issues there. But you do need to understand and acknowledge that when it comes to the case being covered, a key place within the case, right? How it's been documented online, how it's been presented by the official news groups, media groups, news broadcast, etc. Yes, they may have not shown footage of the house up close or street view, ground level, but they've shown it on the maps. At the end of the day, what's actually worse longer term? A person driving down there, recording the property, the house, no indications, no hints as for street names, no road signs mentioned, no house number shown. If you were just shown that video out of nowhere and you'd be thinking, okay, it's a house, it's in the dark, I don't know where it is, it's in the middle of nowhere. How do you go from there? You don't. You compare that to the news groups, the news programs and broadcast and articles where they've shown a satellite photo, a bird's eye view, pinpointing the party house, right? You go on Google Earth, you go on Bing Maps, you go wherever you want, and you match it up and you will find those coordinates exactly, okay? You get more data and information out of the true location of the party house through Google Earth satellite imagery because of the news broadcast, the official media groups that publicly posted where the house was at, the location. A person driving down there who shows no hints, no clues, doesn't reveal the true location. If you used to watch it, you wouldn't be able to pinpoint it. But if you look at the news broadcast, the media outlets, the photos presented there, you could pinpoint it in seconds and the location is revealed just like that. So what is worse at the end of the day? Short term, from the perspective of those that live there or present there at the time, that unsettling feeling that there are people watching you from outside, yes, it's not pleasant. Now, what was the aim of the said individual or the stranger driving down there? What was the purpose of it? Supposedly driving down just to show what the area looks like and then leaving. Not going around the back of the house, not getting out of the car, not knocking on the door, none of that. Because of that footage, because other people couldn't be bothered to do it, to provide that full perspective of the case, it enabled the analysis, the point of view of the barn, the shed in question, other areas, looking for cameras and this and that, okay? It completed a better perspective. And take in mind, whilst people could get hissy and pissy over some footage of a house, even though no location, no directions were given at all, from the perspective and what was shown from the outside only, it wasn't any different in terms of the party itself, where people recorded themselves outside of the building showing certain angles. So when you add it all up together, you get more of a full picture as to what the property and what the area looks like. But I can understand that unsettling feeling, that possible level of disgust within, from their perspective, that it's the intent behind it, it's the mentality behind it. A individual recording it may just be wanting to record it so then people online and within the case learn about it from a different perspective and angle of what the property, what the area looks like. Just like with every other true crime or missing person type of case, where media is taken and covered from different angles, but in some it's lacking. So if someone can fill the void, it greatly benefits a lot of people. But if you are living there or on the receiving end of it, you might find it a little bit unsettling and uncomfortable when you don't know who the said individual is at the time and what is their intent behind it, what's their reasoning behind it, right? Take in mind, I'm doing it from all perspectives as we go along. Different perspectives on both sides. I mean, in terms of media, news, police, they didn't go down there. but they did show the satellite imagery of the pinpoint location. So if humans are going to complain and say, you know, anyone could come down here now because of that footage, anyone in the future, we could be in danger and stuff. Well, if you wanted to base it off that mentality and way of thinking, the moment you were in danger was the moment those official news channels, news broadcast, media groups out there, all the official ones, did those like photos, the aerial footage, pinpointing the location. So from there on then, anyone could have got a hold of coordinates, right? So we can't just be doing a witch hunt on this just one individual that drove down, okay? Because it doesn't reveal that much. But as I said, from the perspective of those that live there or staying there temporarily, unknown to them at the time, but there was someone outside, does feel a bit weird, maybe, okay? But let's move on. So what's this? What kind of people do this kind of thing? Well, some do it in dodgy ways, of course. Others do it out of interest to look out for themselves of the area or provide it to other people out there as a form of media coverage, and that's it. It can still be annoying, of course, but not everybody is doing it with dark intent. Now, it's harder to understand it when, you know, you're on the receiving end and you don't understand who is who, okay? I get it. Logan, going to the home where 3 young girls lay. Are they young exactly? And who are these 3 young girls? And at what time? Because 18th of July would imply that those 3 young girls still live there till this day, even though there was a lot of talk online that people have moved out and it's a desolate area. So what's the deal there? Interesting. So Logan says 3 young individuals, one of which is herself, and then the other 2 would be guessing Avery and Carter Combs, right? Now, how old are they individually? I don't know. All I remember was Avery 22 at the time because of the birthday party, the party itself back in 2023. So 22 approaching 23. Young girl sounds a bit dodgy, that wording. Maybe it's like a form of emotional manipulation based language to make it seem like these individuals are truly vulnerable based off their age, their gender, etc., and you know how things can go about. But at the end of the day, these are young adults, not girls, but adults, okay? Does it excuse what's gone on in this whole situation? It depends what way you look at it, okay? I'm providing multiple perspectives as we go along, okay? But to say that these girls lay their head to sleep every night, it sounds like this is turning into some kind of novel of some sort. Do these people still live there, yes or no? Because it was understanding that the area in question, because it's tied within the case, last known place where Noah was last seen, the party which could, or more so should, have been looked into as a place of interest, and it never was. So there's a bit of intrigue, there's a bit of mystery behind the place, a bit of an eerie feeling as well to know that's where Noah last was and what happened past that point, right? So that's why people are interested, and some more so than others. Now, maybe, just maybe, if the police checked out the area and it was documented a little bit more, whether it's reinforced, debunked, cleared up, cleared as a scene, nothing to see there, and it was all above board and transparent, then maybe there would be less of an intensity concentration within the area, right? But the only other thing I can think of from what Sarah Long said, or another individual at some point previously, was the supposed individuals that lived there at the party house, so I'm guessing Avery, Carter, and maybe even Logan, have been terrorized in the past. People damaging their property, people sending death threats. Is any of that necessary? No, that's a step too far. Because in the eyes of the community, if you start pushing back, fighting back, or intimidating, it could harm the naturalness of the case. It could harm any confessions, make them invalid. But more importantly, if there was anyone you were suspicious with, or those clearly suspicious or involved in some way in the background, you push them away, they may disappear for good. You don't want that. It's better for them to be on the radar, easy to see and monitor. You push them away, they could go underground, never to be seen again. So with the Dylan Brown's case, there was a level of control needed there, and not everybody could control themselves. Jay Slater case, same applies there too. Anyway, what else is there? This is sick. Makes me sick. Worried about whether or not some grown man or woman will be at your house when you wake up or go to sleep is terrifying. That's understandable. But surely that feeling would have been around since day one, the moment the public news groups and media outlets decided to reveal the location of where that house was. That would have been the turning point. That would have been the catalyst to anyone and everyone showing up. Should it happen in the first place? Probably not. And especially if people saw it as a crime scene or a potential one, anyone driving down there should have that in mind, you know. You might be interested in the location, but if you also believe it's a crime scene, do you want to be going over there because it could contaminate something? It depends where you lie within the case and your thoughts on the matter. But still, even if it wasn't for this individual recording that footage, has anyone else, maybe not recorded it, maybe not posted it, but has anyone else been down there beforehand or after? Well, because of the news groups publicly posting the location of the place, it probably would have been inevitable. Now, that might not be a good positive mindset to have, but it's a realistic one, isn't it? Okay? Supposedly, there's been some other individuals out there who are supposedly tied or connected with other individuals out there, driving about, taking photos of this and that, and going to people's houses. Seems to be all over the place, a free-for-all at times. Bit of a messy time, I guess. But let's just continue reading. Not knowing if they'll do something to you or one of your best friends in your sleep. Right, so what Logan is implying here is that there's a group of 3 girls who are supposedly very vulnerable. It's a terrifying situation that anyone could come on down and do anything to them. Now, you're thinking of examples, some of the most unimaginable things. That's what Logan is implying here, or at least how you can infer from the language used. It's very vague, but it kind of stands out. Will do something to you or one of your best friends in your sleep. So does that imply breaking into the house, killing, stabbing, attacking, rape, sexual assault? That's why it implies here. Now, why would anyone want to do that? And obviously people can respond and say, because there are messed up people in this world. But then again, you can always use that counterpoint and say, yes, that's very true. But how many messed up people live in that area or near that place? And in addition, how many so-called messed up or sick, twisted people were present at the party? Okay? Is it normal for people to get all the stories mixed up and switch and change with time and lie? No, it's not a good look. And even if there's some individuals out there that aren't lying themselves and they're innocent, who they associate themselves with can be questionable at times. Anyway, anything else here? How is this being glorified? Protect the girls from these lost people. There might be lost people in the case, but in different ways, such as lost in trying to find the truth, but meeting a load of dead ends, not getting anywhere. Well, maybe if those within the case made it a bit clearer and didn't switch and change all over the place, it'd be easier to follow. And ever since that recent debacle with the latest interview or so on Partners in True Crime, it's a bit all over the place. It's not going too well, is it? No. Now, if we're talking about this scenario situation, the footage here being glorified, it's far from it. The whole perspective of the footage is to get a full picture of what the place looks like, to try and interpret from what angle did Noah leave the party. Through the front door, round the back, who was where was what, at what point, what time, how significant is the barn and shed, right? The footage itself was very useful in getting a full analysis and understanding of the possibilities of the events and the timeline leading up to Noah's death, or at least Noah's disappearance from the property. Significant and vital in pinpointing the front porch where Jasmine Milan did the Snapchat, understanding the angles, the perspectives, the cameras, everything like that. Okay, when it comes to footage, when it comes to analysis, not everything has to be dark. Not everything has to be sick and twisted. But what appears to be the case, Logan Avery Carter may be damaged individuals psychologically who have had a wave of backlash from those online or those in real life before this situation with the footage. If it is truly true that they've been harassed, if their property has been damaged in the past, you could understand why these people would be on high alert and a bit more sensitive, and things like this could trigger them. That's understandable to an extent. But in terms of the analysis behind it, not the individual behind the camera, not the individual that went out there, I'm talking about one, and that one is War Like Wrath. Analysing footage, making sense of it, getting the understanding of the viewpoint, the angles, the perspectives, who was what, where was where, the different angles, anything stands out, etc. All under control. But I don't think these humans have it under control, because just as a microcosm, they're basing it off a short video, not the full length analysis, right? And this short video, although it's spazzing out now because it doesn't want to load, all it was a question here or there saying, what's going on there? Is that a hazmat suit round the side of the house? Because from the angle, the perspective, that's what it looked like, okay? Was that truly the case? From the looks of it, no. But all that's needed is a simple response. It never happened. And that's where the dysfunction begins. Now, looking back at some of these comments, it's important to do so. So here we go. This one's very interesting. Sarah Long. Now, it's interesting how Sarah Long speaks about this, because she doesn't live there, but seems to have an understanding of the property, saying that we've got video footage, the CCTV cameras of the party house, which will pick up the vehicle's description, tag number, and it'll be in the hands of the police, so it'll be all fine. Well, isn't that convenient? The CCTV footage at that party house, which just so happens to work when you're on the receiving end, when you may or may not get a trespasser. But oh no, back in 2023, the cameras just so happened not to be working at the party house when they were needed most, with Noah Presgrove and when he was last seen. And what happened after that? Oh, the cameras didn't work then, but they do now. How convenient, the timing of it all. Interesting. State-of-the-art cameras, but they're not exactly working at times when they're needed most. But if it benefits the homeowners or those connected to them, it'll work then. I suppose it was Stevie Howard claiming that back in 2023 that their footage, the cameras did pick up some people leaving the party house, but that was afterwards. It wasn't relevant to Noah leaving or anything else happening leading up to that part. So the cameras were a bit faulty on and off. Did they work? Didn't they? One or the other. But they do work now. Shame about the timing though, isn't it? Was there anything else that needs to be mentioned then? Yeah, what are you doing at someone's house? Not what I'm doing. I'm not even from there. I'm not even from that country. Obviously, I don't even sound like I'm from it. Granted, I can do accents, but that's completely different, right? Was there anything else that needs to be addressed? What's wrong with these people just to show up at someone's house and trespass? Is it considered trespassing? Me personally, I didn't see any signs. But like how you get people in the background that say, I'm going to sue you, I'm going to arrest you for trespassing. What's going to happen? Thousands of people that have watched a video going to be classified as trespassing behind the camera? who weren't even there recording it. Oh no. But let's see this. Sarah Long says, post the video debunking the hazmat suit that the girls don't own. It's interesting how, once again, individuals like to be very quirky with their little emojis of a face palm. Just so happens that on my channel, I do have a one-of-one exclusive full-size emoji face palm of myself. If you'd like to use it, feel free to become a member on my channel. But yeah, there's no need really for face palming or getting flustered in a situation like that. All it requires is an answer and a response. But when it's met with an attitude, a tone of voice change, becomes a little bit unnecessary, says more about them than it does about others. Now, this person called Emily Martin. Is Emily Martin the sister to Sarah Long, as Sarah claimed earlier? Or is Sarah getting at she wants her sister to post the video, which is Stevie Howard, because Stevie and Sarah are sisters, but instead Emily Martin, never heard of them, decides to post it themselves? Now, the video footage is there. I will play it shortly. Don't go anywhere, but let's just finish off the comments. Sarah Long says, Emily Martin, thank you for posting this. These people are idiots. Very, very interesting. So Sarah Long is slowly transitioning into the mentality of Stevie Howard, bashing people and calling out humans as idiots. Appropriate wording and language matches the characteristics, the personality, the behaviour behind it all. So basically what Sarah Long is stating is that anyone that watches the video and only sees it from a certain perspective based off the footage, which only provides a certain perspective, so you're not going to get the full picture, it's not your fault. But Sarah Long is claiming that you're an idiot. Interesting. Now, in terms of being an idiot, okay, I guess having an IQ of 116 makes one an idiot. What does that make you then? An impetuous, egocentric plum that doesn't understand language and wording. Sarah Long, an individual, which has been universally consensus in supposedly, not from me, but what majority have said, gaslighting Caden Pressey and telling him that he's wrong. Yeah, it's a really great mentality to have. Great look. We've got Brooke Bounce Carter, the only individual that has been vocal, shared their side of the story and reached out on YouTube. It's as simple as that. But the majority failed to do it. Brooke Bounce Carter managed, which is something. But let's see the reactions, okay? What other humans have viewed this? And you go to the emojis and stuff, the bits and the bobs. So Brooke Bounce Carter gives the heart for the post. So basically in agreement to the situation. Kane Howard, is that related to Stevie Howard, Tim Howard? Who knows? But Kane Howard and Nicholas Leverett both give the thumbs up to the post. 2 individuals are saddened by the event. Amber Chestnut, Brandy Jenkins Houston. 3 people are shocked and appalled by it. Madison Rhodes, Amy Collins. Some of these names are spelled a bit dodgy. Ashlyn Carter, another Carter possibly. And last but not least, 4 people are angry with the situation. Jade Millan. Interesting, one of the Millans. Well, I wonder the situation with Justin Roy, family of family who are married into the Millans. What do those in the background think of this situation? Do they agree with Jade Millan? I wonder. Rosa Newton is also very angry. Becky Barnes, Matlock, heard of their name mentioned before, but don't know much about them, angry. And of course, Sarah Long. So what are they most angry with? The video footage and the intent behind it by the original person that recorded it in the first place? Or are they more so angry with war-like wrath and the coverage of it? Or is it a combination between both? Makes you wonder. So with that in mind, and the possible debunking with the hazmat suit, let's give that the stage and focus right now and play that video. So you saw some footage there, more up to date and modern from the looks of it, 2024, and hopefully you saw around the back. If not, I did get a screenshot of it. This time around, the only thing that's different is there is no car parked up. Whether this person was coming back or they were trying to prove a point in terms of driving down there in the first place to recreate the original, who knows? No lights seem to be on inside of the house. So the last footage what we saw some months ago now, back in 2024, of lights being on and a vehicle parked up, supposedly Avery, Carter and Logan were inside eating lasagna. Now I don't know why talking about eating lasagna is so specific and important. It doesn't matter if there's people inside, there's people inside, and if they're unknown of the situation as to what's outside, you get that understanding of the unsettling feeling when you reflect back on it retrospectively. But in a positive light, if you wanted to put a bit of a spin on it, depending what aspect you look at it, the video covering the original footage gave a different viewpoint and perspective, something that they weren't aware of at the time but are now. So if you wanted to twist a word, you could say that I've done certain humans a favour, so then they're more aware. But equally, the one who recorded the footage in the first place, whoever they did the majority in the community a favour in terms of just providing that full perspective of what the property in the area looks like. There are positives to take away from this, from all angles and perspectives, but the impetuous, egocentric ones will only look at it one way with a dense tunnel vision mindset. And I'm aware of those individuals present, okay? What do we have on screen though? Well, the only thing that's consistent here with what we saw last time is people don't clean their window screens because there's always dirt on them. So it makes it a little bit hard to see through, and you get a bit of a glare as well with some of the lights. But this seems to be night time, a lot darker than when that other individual were coming on down. So this definitely looks like night time. You look into the distance and it's quite spooky in a way. That's possibly one of the perspectives that Noah Presgrove had when he was at the party at the time, even if it's early hours of Monday morning, because of how dark it is and the lack of light source, and there's no lights on the highway, no lamps, only this here. So it's like a dark abyss in the distance. So if you wandered off into the dark like Jack claimed in the past on the People article, it's a bit mysterious and spooky, right? Now, has anything else changed at this place, property? I mean, close to the house is some like objects outside, where it'd be a container, a cooler, some kind of orange glowing object, nothing that's significant. You can make it a lot clearer now though, because the car's not there parked up as an obstruction. You can see the front porch and the doorway, so we've got a full understanding perspective of that. Once again, curtains or blinds are shut on the windows, whether that be for privacy or just because that's what people do when it comes to nighttime anyway. You just close them all. It's kind of a normal thing to do. You got the dirt road which leads up to the property, but then by the side of the little island you got the grass, and then round the back, as you see near the basketball hoop, it's just all grass. And I do have my own counterpoints regarding that when it comes to the ATV or side-by-side situation, but that can be saved for another day. So let's just move on to the next slide. This is up close. You see the basketball hoop on the left. You can see the property and what's round the back. There's not too much, at least from this angle. It's just like a dark abyss. On the Google Earth satellite imagery, there used to be a trampoline round the back. Oh my God, is one stalking the place and property? No, it was publicly viewable at the time on Google Earth, of all places. That's no longer there, or at least it hasn't been, unless it's moved temporarily, who knows. But as you see, round the back, round the side, you zoom on in, a water meter, a water box, whatever you want to call it. It's obviously not a person. It's not a costume. It's not a hazmat suit. But understandably, when you're looking at it from a certain perspective, without the full picture and context, mistakes can be made along the way. It's not really a mistake when that's what you've been presented at the time and that's all you've been presented with. Your observations are understandable and valid based off that limited material. But when presented with this, head on, up close, if you used to say it's a hazmat suit now, you could say it's quite ridiculous. So I myself, from my perspective, would agree and say this has likely been debunked. Okay? I don't know if you see it back there, but you can kind of get the idea from a certain angle, because take in mind the original person driving down didn't go up close like this individual did. So because of that, it was more zoomed out. And depending the angle, it does look white, because as for the colour, it is white. But as for the shaping of it and the angle, it could be perceived as a person. And if it's a person dressed in white, and if it's all white, you could be thinking, well, what would that exactly be? A hazmat suit for painting or decorating of some sort? And why in the dark or early hours of the morning? Seems a little bit weird. There was some comments recently on my channel, don't know where that came from because I've not seen it myself, where the opposition were claiming it was a bee costume, beekeeper transporting honey. Now, I've not seen any of that today from what we've read, unless it's been mentioned elsewhere in a sarcastic tone. But, you know, if people are going to lower themselves to being sarcastic, they're not exactly putting up a good image themselves, are they? Laughing back and calling others idiots. How far does that go? Not that far. There needs to be a bit of communication, cooperation for the best results and outcome. And that has not been met. So one's disappointment is immeasurable at this moment in time, right? But what I will say is, because it is helpful, it does clear up certain areas and aspects that the hazmat or the hidden person around the building has been debunked, right? Wasn't that difficult, was it? You can see the box there. It's not that deep, but it's only now that we've got the full perspective. Now, yes, you could nitpick and say that the original person driving on down should have got closer or drove a bit to the left so you could have seen around the corner. But you can't expect someone to do everything in the moment, especially if they themselves are being a bit cautious because they don't want to get caught or they feel uncomfortable themselves. Because this is the thing, it may not always apply. Whether you're aware or not at the time, you could be scared of that individual. But the person who's on site, trespassing or not, could be scared as well. Both scared of each other. There are times like that. Does it make each person innocent? Maybe depending on how you look at it. One person or one set minding their own business inside, the other one on the outside intrigued or wants to provide a perspective to the masses online as what the location looks like. Now, the whole trespassing situation, I said, I've not seen any signs, but if there are any, then yeah, that is a bit unfortunate and it's a bit of a sticky situation, of course. But I'd argue and say that if the case was handled more properly, there was a level of proactiveness at the start and more cooperation and specifically more consistency, then some humans may not take matters into their own hands, right? Even the family, as much as they control themselves, even they have been left in the dark at times. Yes, some people hold it together better than others. The family have held it together well, but then there'll be other people out there just in the community, very passionate or overly emotional, might take matters into their own hands. Could it harm the case? Yes or no? Who knows? Things do happen, good and bad. Depends how you react and respond to it and the level of reasoning ability. And I would say in an event like this, reasoning ability is lacking within humans. It's arguably disappointing. For the first time round, this may be a good example in time of where something has been resolved and debunked. Would have been nice if stuff was reinforced, but debunking is just as important. It gets rid of the trash, the dead weight, clearing the pathway to progress forwards and for others in the future to come along. They're not going to get stuck on this or that because there is an answer to it at the end of the day. And when it comes to mysteries, extensive experience myself with all the cases that I've covered, especially the Kenny Veach case, debunking things, reinforcing stuff directly by myself, the Catalyst one-man army, or at times, most importantly, by the help of others, experts, locals, both, it goes a long way. In this demonstration, natural demonstration more so, natural habitat and environment, it's not been met quite the same way, okay? So there are supposedly party goers or former party goers, or those who are friends of friends of the party goers or connected by family that are watching my videos. Now, could any of them have been responsible for falsely reporting my videos for the privacy violations? You never know, because there's been some language and wording here and there which has possibly revealed the possibilities that they could have been responsible. I say they in a vague way because I can't be specific or confident as to whom exactly. But it does make me think. But as said, once again, 20, I think it was like 10 to 20 of my videos were falsely reported for privacy violations, even though most of the stuff was in the public domain, no issues broken. YouTube said I was good, did nothing wrong, and it was all okay. But if humans keep doing that, it might have a bit of a problem, right? Because what does it result at the end of the day, okay? Because we can watch this, we can watch that, we can talk about this, we can complain, whinge, whine, moan, take things out of proportion, only look at a certain angle, perspective, a short video and not the whole amount or not the full length video, and then report, haha, we'll just report this, haha, we'll report that, oh, we're going to shut him down, haha, haha. I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think it's going to work. Because look how it's gone up to now. All that happens is one locks on harder than ever. Okay? Resistance highlights one getting closer to proximity of the possible truth. So people can dig themselves into a hole, not going to help them. And when it comes to the communication aspect, clearing up stuff, we don't want to talk about the hazmat suit, whether it be by Sarah or by Logan, as things are getting out of hand and crazy. Things are getting out of hand because a person looking at a limited video with limited angles and perspectives thinks that there is a hazmat suit or someone dressed up in it, in which it was simply an observation and nothing was being stated as a fact, and nothing was being stated as in this links to the party, this links to a cover-up, this is someone disposing of evidence, this is someone disposing of Noah's body. None of that was mentioned. I wouldn't say it's out of hand, you know? If you was to look across the room and you saw a dog dropping a load, or you saw a cat with its leg cocked half up and liquid coming out the back, that's an observation, because that's what you perceive in front of you. But what happens if you were looking at it the wrong way? That the dog that you saw, the dogged nature of it, repeatedly doing what it's done, turn out to be a human. Because from looking at it front on from a different angle, it turned out to be a female that hasn't been shaving and let the hair grow long, and they've not been washing themselves. They could look like a dog if they're on all fours. Right? So from the different angles and perspectives, you will see different things, right? It's not getting out of hand. People are being a bit exaggerative there with their language and wording, which is very disappointing. You see something from a side profile, it looks a certain way. You make the observation based off what it looks like, what it could be. Then you see it from a different angle and light afterwards. Front profile, oh, it's not a dog. It's an actual female. Or a male if they've not been cutting, shaving, doing whatever, okay? Or like with a cat. Well, you can't say, oh, a cat could actually be a human because of the size and all that. That's why I used a dog, because you get some big dogs out there. And I'm talking about dogs specifically, okay? Actual dogs that bark. And people get triggered, don't worry, I do actually mean a dog. There you go. You want Scooby-Doo as well, just to lighten the tone. Reggie? Reggie! Oh, sweet. There we go. So it's about lightheartedness at times to break through the mold of the darkness. There might have been a bit of echo with the sound, but that's because I'm doing it inside. When it's done outside, it doesn't reverberate the sound. But what I'm getting at is, at the end of the day, you can make somewhat of a valid observation, an observational opinion, a visual observation, a mental observation as to what you see with the footage, the media, the material, the evidence, whatever it is in front of you. What you see may not be exactly the truth. So then what's required is a third-party person to come out, the expert, the one that's familiar with it, that lives there, in the example of this example, reaches out, leaves a simple comment saying, "Hi, unfortunately, it's not a hazmat suit. What it actually is like a water box or some kind of box equipment round the side. That's all it is. It's not a person. There's nothing strange going on. The end." Do you see how simple that is? Was that met today? Was it met back in July? No. What ended up happening was a couple of individuals very angry at the situation decided to complain, whinge and whine about it on Facebook in arguably a bit of an unreachable spot where people wouldn't think of looking. Neither did I. And it's only just now that it's been brought to my attention by some viewer on my channel, right? That's the only reason why I know about it. But you can see how problems could have been resolved from day one if there was communication. It's not that difficult. These people are secretly watching my videos. All they have to do is leave a simple comment. It doesn't have to be too positive, but it doesn't have to be negative. Just keep it neutral, state what is the fact or what is the situation, and there we go. Now, Brooke Bounds-Carter has made an attempt at doing that. So something is better than nothing, but from the others, or it be Logan or anyone else, and they wanted to set the record straight regarding the hazmat suit, it's very simple. Just leave a comment, make it clear, make it known, and then an update video can follow. Just like how this one did, but obviously the tone behind this video is different because of the original tone of the others and the lack of language wording and the appropriate nature behind it. Okay? So things could have been a lot easier if humans did the right thing, but that did not happen. So one is slightly disappointed, but arguably, no, beyond disappointed, immeasurable, because it's happened a few times now across many cases and situations. We've always seen it. Misunderstandings or disagreements can lead to tension, friction, and maybe drama. It's not led directly to that this time around, which is something at least, because it's under control here, because of the patterns, the ways of knowing how things come and go and how people act and change. But still, things could have been a lot easier if people made it easier themselves. But no, they decided to make it harder and difficult. So these mysteries, these suspicions drag out and intensify because there are no clear answers. Up until now. But it could have occurred much earlier. It was clearer communication. It's not that hard. This is not behind a paywall. This video is publicly viewable. So if anything needs to be addressed or corrected, it can be. You've seen it with Alicia Lee, the mother to Caden Prezi. They've managed to clear things up and speak on behalf of this person or that or the situation. Justin Roy's done the same, and some others, Brooke Bounds-Carter. It's not that difficult. There is a platform. There is freedom of speech. Might as well use it. But no, we won't. And complain in the background. You expect things to change. Yeah, that's a dysfunction. I mean, when it came to Brooke Bounds-Carter stating this and that about this information here and there's facts there about this video footage out there, it was still lacking in terms of clarity, language, wording, and specific answers to specific questions. That was failed, which is, yet again, disappointing, but at least they made an attempt to leave some public comments and others haven't. Now, others could feel like, why should we have to? Why should we have to explain ourselves? Then, well, if you don't feel like you have to explain yourselves, then there's no reason to be talking or complaining about it in the first place. And why are we here then? Exactly. Contradictions after contradictions. And once again, to state that a situation is getting out of hand, what, now? I think it was out of hand from the beginning when people couldn't get the story straight and there was a lack of consistency and there was a lack of proactiveness even from the likes of the LE. It's not a good start from the beginning, is it? Okay? I think some humans seem to forget, don't they? Goldfish mentality, just like the Dylan Rounds case. Selective hearing, just like some as well in the community. Selective mindsets, tunnel vision. I'm seeing it all over and over again. Humans need to get a grip of themselves, as simple as that. In the meantime, though, it's under control. Okay? Or at least for some it is. We'll see what happens next and what video needs to be covered, but this was important to do. And whilst arguably it's kind of old news now, it didn't exactly surface publicly to that extent or the reach. So by doing this video, it should help along the way. So at least it's debunked one area, and I'll try and include that in the title. But as for the attitudes, not exactly necessary, right? So hopefully people found this video interesting. If you do want to share it, feel free. If you want to like, give the thumbs up, that'd be appreciated, and leave your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Good night, goodbye for now.